I hate to break the fishing news up, Yaremchuk, but I'd like to speak about the ice hockey.
Congratulations, you're one of the 13 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
We just traded a migraine in for like an orgasm.
Might want to mark that down, Yaremchuk.
Yep.
All of my projects are on schedule until they're not.
A member of the Nation Network of Podcasts.
About as funny as we're going to get today.
Welcome in episode 246 of the Real Life Podcast, brought to you by Oodle Noodle. I'm Tyler Yaremchuk, joined by Jay and Chalmers, and hopefully in the next few minutes we'll be joined by Wanye and Bagged Milk. But there is so much to get to that I did not want to give them any extra time. I said we're starting the podcast at 1 o'clock. We are starting this podcast right at 1 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, brought to you by Oodle Noodle, 14 locations in Edmonton. 10% of all in-store and curbside pickup proceeds go towards a local charity. Jay, I haven't asked you in about a week now what the charity is, but what's up right now at Oodle Noodle?
So we are, I don't know if you saw the video with me swimming in a pool of puppies.
Puppies, yep.
Yeah, so Second Chance Animal Rescue is who we are working with right now.
Good stuff.
So they help, well, basically they give a lot of cool and amazing animals a second chance and make sure that they find good homes and are healthy and all that good stuff. So they do some cool things. Tough not to go there and not come home with 10 puppies. But yeah, no, they're doing good things. Super happy to be partnered with them. We saw there was an article about how they needed some help. They've been hurting with fundraising during this time, so we're happy we can step up. So thank you, everyone, for supporting Oodle Noodle and allowing us to partner with Scars.
There we go. That's what's happening.
It's funny. You're killing it with the cute factor on getting the puppies in. That was a nice little dimension to your charity. But I have noticed that I thought like they'd be doing great over COVID because I think a ton of people went and got pets, right? So like that's been kind of a trend. We actually have a place for rent, and we met people, and almost every single person had a pet that they just had gotten within like the last 6 months.
Well, you're forgetting
there's like two sides to it.
You got to calculate in though that all the pets are fucking, and there's babies plenty.
What?
Huh?
There's another side of that coin, though, right, Jay? Like, there's also a lot of people who are struggling financially and have had to give up their pets.
Yeah, like there's two sides to it for sure, and so and unfortunately, it's like they're getting inundated. It's two things, right? It's not necessarily that they're getting inundated with animals, but it's also the funding side, right? The money that goes in to provide the care to it. That is where they really need a lot of help right now because that slowed down because of COVID. So it's a function of many things. So happy to be able to help them.
Wanye and Bagged Milk are here now on the podcast. Boys, we have so much to get to that I just started recording at 1 o'clock. I didn't even care who was here yet. So we just let her go. Lots to get to. We're going to get to our predictions in a second. Oscar Klefbom spoke to the media. Waivers today. New broadcast duo here in Edmonton. That's been officially announced. Brody from OwnersBox coming up at 1:45. Anyone got anything there they want to start with? Jujhar, Klefbom, or Jack Michaels going to TV? Which one jumps off the page?
Jujhar.
It was interesting. You could see it coming though. Like I talked to Hart from Buckpedia today, and like it's to make money work. I don't think they necessarily want to lose Jujhar, and I don't even really think that they will lose Jujhar. I think there's a pretty good chance he clears waivers tomorrow. But either way, seeing a guy who's been on the team for as many years as Jujhar has go on waivers was a little shocking.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. Like, you know, you really want to pull for Jujhar, but yeah, his play hasn't been up to snuff. Like, if it was 2 years ago, like Jujhar, like, and we were waving him, I would have been shocked. But like, I'm not shocked that happened, but I'm just sad because I believed a lot in the player. I also am a proud owner of a signed Jujhar Khaira jersey, so I have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. I'll probably keep it with pride and remember that era, the Jujhar era.
You believed in Jujhar, but like, let's be honest with you, like with everybody, in the last year and a half, we've been waiting for him to just like take a step forward. And you know, every bit player like that has to have one game where they come out and show why we're paying them. And I don't remember one game last year where Jujhar had a Jujhar game, you know, where it was him and he was like the difference. And he just seems to be a body taking up space.
He used to smash guys and he used to fight on the regular.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
And it's like he forgot how to play Jujhar hockey.
Remember when there'd be the Cassian games where it's like Cassian, he can go out there and he can win you a game because of how well he plays, or he can go out there and he can lose you one by how off the rails
Dumb
he gets
penalties,
with
yeah.
penalties and dumb shit. Well, like, I'll take the bad ones from Cassian if I get the good ones from him. We weren't getting any of it from Jujhar. You know what I mean? Like, he was
didn't he get hurt though? Didn't he hurt himself?
at least become a playoff or a penalty kill specialist or something.
He is
You
a
know?
penalty kill specialist.
That he was.
I mean, wow. He wasn't one of those guys where you like saw him out there and you were like, oh man, we got Jujhar on the penalty kill. Like, this is a guaranteed shutdown.
I think he'll be back.
I'm fine with it.
I don't think he's gone. Like, I think he'll clear. They'll wait a couple days. They'll figure out the Klefbom LTIR stuff, and they'll add him back to the roster. Every team kind of has 2 or 3 guys like Jujhar Khaira on their roster, so I just can't see a team being like, yeah, $1.2 million? Sure, let's bring him in, because let's be honest, they probably could have had him this offseason if they would have made the call to Edmonton. So, I don't know. There's a lot of good players on waivers today, though. Holy shit. Tyler Johnson.
Like 100 players.
Yeah, Tyler Johnson in Tampa Bay. I mean, second time on waivers now in the last 3 months for him, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone puts in a claim for him. He's a good player, and I know the $5 million on the cap hit is worrisome, and you don't want to be the team that bails out Tampa, but you're getting that guy for free at this point, so I don't know why you wouldn't pick up Tyler Johnson. I can't believe the Flames put Oliver Shillington on waivers. That's Boston's not going to let him go through. Detroit, I don't even think, would let Oliver Shillington go through. Derek Ryan, product of the University of Alberta, he's on waivers down in Calgary. Like, if a team is looking for a fourth-line defensive specialist, they'll go get Derek Ryan before they care about Jujhar Khaira, right? So that's why I think Jujhar's going to clear. Like, he's pretty low on the totem pole of quality players on the waiver wire.
You guys see the little joke prank that the Boston Bruins played on Patrice Bergeron for the captain?
That was pretty funny.
Giving it to Brad Marchand, and he goes up there, and I don't know, man. I wonder if Patrice Bergeron in that moment was actually like, what the fuck is going on?
Are you shitting with me? They didn't give me I waited this fucking long, and these guys aren't giving me the captaincy. That was really, really funny. Okay, I want to talk about the broadcast duo, because that's obviously something I care about a lot. It's been how long? Probably, 15, 20 years of Kevin Quinn calling Oilers games on Sportsnet? And that's going to be no more now. Jack Michaels is going to handle all of the regional broadcasts, as they announced today. We've had Jack on the pod. I think every Oilers fan loves Jack. So for me, I am more excited at the opportunity for Jack Michaels to get to do TV, because his passion, man, he is a great play-by-play voice.
Yeah, he gets you fired up.
Yeah, he brings the energy. The issue with, I've got a lot of respect for Kevin Quinn, and trust me, I love it when he says, overtime winner.
But Jack Michaels does that too.
Well, hey, just wait. Everything outside of just, I'm talking about Kevin Quinn, about that is dry toast. He knows a lot. He knows he's good at his job in terms of he can call the game, but it's dry toast. We need to bring more energy into the broadcast, and Jack Michaels is going to bring that energy. And I hope Sportsnet lets him instead of suppress his abilities, because, that's the thing. When I watch the NBC feed and I listen and watch those games on NBC, it feels different than watching it on Sportsnet. It sounds and feels different.
You're hearing the best play-by-play person ever that calls hockey in the NBC one. So, yeah, that should feel a bit different. Doc Emmerich.
Yeah, well, the Oilers deserve the best. The Oilers deserve the best. And I think Jack Michaels gives them it's definitely a step in the right direction. So my only request is that he still says the Oilers Radio Network, because there were so many games.
The Oilers.
That was the best part of the game, was him doing the call sign of the Oilers Radio Network. So maybe he will bring that over somehow. The Rogers Sportsnet.
You're watching Oilers hockey on Sportsnet 360 and Sportsnet 4.
But more.
The Ocho.
Yeah,
the
Sportsnet Ocho.
See, but with Jack Michaels being on radio, wasn't he more inclined to give more of an opinion and talk more I guess when you're a broadcaster, you're not supposed to go in there. You're supposed to call the game. You're supposed to be dry toast. You're supposed to tell people what the fuck's happening without, giving opinions. And I found that the minimal times that I listen to Stoff and Jack Michaels, they delve into a lot of opinion, and you're just like, I'm not really here for you to tell me what to think.
Let's isolate that. It's singular, one of the duo's opinion, likes to always force his opinion on everyone. So I like to hear what Schoffer has to think, though, because then I either agree or disagree,
but then I have an opinion too. And the problem is, if you don't have that authority being like 1, 2, 3, then you can't be like, fuck you, it is.
Right, well, I think sometimes Stauffer likes to just.
Well, I'm sure Jack Michaels is going to do a cartwheel out of that booth to be free of stuff.
Yeah. So who's his sidekick? Jack Michaels.
It's gonna be Louis DeBrusque, which is great.
Cool.
Beautiful. Gotta fucking love Louis.
And who's Stoff with now?
Love Louis.
So I'm looking to see if they've announced it yet.
Go for it, your Chuck. Step up.
No, because I know
he
him.
Doesn't want to get in trouble. He doesn't want to get in trouble.
Do it. You'd be fucking Doogie Howser of announcers.
No, I know him, and I don't want to be the one that like spoils his big moment, or like if people are gonna text him after me like, "Oh, I heard you." So I want him to be able to announce it on his own.
Well, for the record,
I know him from his dub days
isn't
though.
Live.
Yeah, I know, but like I don't know if that announcement's coming in the next like day, right? Although it kind of has to, I suppose. But I know him from his dub days. Oilers fans, if you listen to 630 Ched, you listen to the radio, you're gonna love this guy's call. But I think what's going to happen is Jack is only going to be doing the regional Oilers games. The national games are still going to go to like Chris Cuthbert or whoever. So I believe Jack is sliding back to radio for the Oilers games that are on national TV. And then they're going to add the new voice will do play-by-play just whenever Jack's on TV. And Stoff will always stay as the color commentator on radio. And I guess he's helping out with intermissions as well now. So
it's crazy that this is all timed for the new Ched deal too, right? Ched gets the 3-year deal, and then everything shifts, right?
Yeah, and Sportsnet extended.
So what's going to happen though? What's going to happen with like the national game? Because like almost every game being played now could be a national game. So is there like going to be an elevation of national games anyways for Oilers? Because they're going to play the Leafs 10 times, so you know that's going to be a national game. And then they're going to be the Battle of Alberta. I hope for the fucking sake of hockey they make that a national game. And then Vancouver could be a national game. Like, how many national games are we going to be playing or televising?
I think it's pretty much the same as in years past. Maybe like a slight uptick, just because Sportsnet only has like so many major networks, right? Like they can only put them on. So like if Edmonton's playing, there we go. Cam Moon. It's been announced now. Cam Moon's going to be the new radio voice of the Oilers.
Who? Warren Moon.
Cam Moon.
Warren Moon.
Former
unbelievable.
Longtime,
That's star
Edmonton
power.
legend.
Wow, Warren Moon.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys did the same thing, but if you looked at the schedule like very in depth while I was doing my predictions, like most of the games are on Sportsnet. There's way more than I thought that are going to be on NBC. Like at least I would say 4 or 5. So that's pretty good. But I don't know what you mean by national. Like, is this on CBC? Like, is that what you're meaning?
Hockey Night in Canada is national games, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Wednesday night hockey, they brand as national. Sunday, Scotiabank hockey or whatever, that's national. But like the Tuesday game against Ottawa isn't going to be a nationally televised game. It's going to be televised in the regional networks of Ottawa and Edmonton.
Jack Maxwell is very upset.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go more than 3 days without playing. That is going to be fireworks for this season, man.
Oh yeah,
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Going to be great. It's going to be great for the guy who does the Oilers Nation pregame podcast, which is coming back this year. You can look forward every Oilers game day, everything you need to get you set for that night's matchup in under 20 minutes. Brought to you by Yegburger, which is also the best pregame burger spot in town. There's the plug of my pregame podcast. So we talked about the waivers. We talked about Jujhar, the new broadcast duo. Jack Michaels going to TV. Cam Moon going from the Red Deer Rebels to the big leagues. He's going to the NHL.
Explain. He was the play-by-play for the Red Deer Rebels?
For a while now, too.
Oh, good for him then. Stepping up.
Yep. And yeah, he's been doing that for a long time. And he is honestly a great guy. I love Mooner.
Do you think you could beat him up if you had to, your Chuck?
No, Mooner would kick the shit out of me.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
He played in the dub, didn't he?
I think he might have, yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right, so we got that. Oscar Klefbom in the media availability today, basically saying he's not retiring, which some people were worried about, but his shoulder is, not where it needs to be playing hockey. He talked about how, it's stopping him from sleeping well at night. He doesn't always want to be on painkillers, that kind of stuff. So Klefbom is still a long, long ways away from playing hockey again. He mentioned like coming to Cleveland or something like that to see a specialist. So no Klefbom this year. And today on the radio, Gregor brought up the possibility of them maybe not protecting him in the Seattle expansion draft now, just because his future with that shoulder is still so up in the air. That sucks. it sucks not having Klefbom around. Like, over the last 5, 6, 7 years, like, he's been one of the best Oilers to watch. He'll go down as one of the best defensemen they've ever had, in my opinion. He just can't stay healthy.
It sucks when a guy like him with limitless potential finds himself in this position. You never feel good for anybody like this. And it sucks because, like, we've all been waiting for guys like him for the Oilers. You know, it's always been, we need a defenseman. We need this big defenseman. We get him. And then he gets taken away from us in probably the worst way possible. So it's really discouraging, man. I didn't like seeing that today.
Well, I'm glad he's not trying to force the issue. He's taken the year to try to give it a good chance of probably rehab to try to come back. And I'm all for the idea of not protecting him. I think that's a good strategy. But the big thing I'm going to miss this season is thrusting goal celebrations. I feel like that brings the energy that we need.
Like the curl.
It's the curse of Chris Pronger. It's the curse of Chris Pronger. Since Chris Pronger, we've yet to have the 1A defenseman we needed so badly. And we've thrown a lot of people under the bus because they couldn't be that guy. There's been injury. There's been all sorts of reasons. And Klefbom, we needed him to be our 1A.
Yeah. And he was when he was in the lineup. It was just sucks that shoulder. Like, and again, shoulders are one of those things that, like, man, if you're born with a shoulder that can't hold up, like, what can you really do about it, right?
Who's our top D? Is it Nurse?
Yeah. Nurse and Bear.
At one
Bear,
point, was Klefbom like not on the trajectory of being like a Victor Hedman, like a long time, like
no,
well, not that
not
good,
that level,
but
not
I mean,
that level. He's good, but he's not that.
I mean, he's
durable.
He's been solid, but he's never has Hedman been top 5 defenseman every year in the league.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think he has.
Yeah, he's been pretty.
All right, maybe it's just the numbers.
How big can Broberg be relative to Klefbom?
He doesn't have the offensive upside, but I think when you look at the future of the Oilers' blue line and you dream of a world where Broberg's on the left side and Bouchard's on the right side, they're two defensemen that can complement each other really, really well. Like, I think that's...
Is that our 1A, 1B in the future, you think?
Yeah, 100%. Like, that's what they're banking on now. And, I mean, Bear's going to be real good. You're certainly hoping for this year at least. Caleb Jones is going to be good. Nurse is going to be in the picture as well, especially if there's no Oscar Klefbom for, like, even if he has to miss
We
another
need
year
you, Nurse. We need you to be the guy you can be. It is required of you.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting this year. I think the blue line is definitely, like, the goaltending's a big question mark, but that blue line, too, almost doesn't get talked about enough for, like, there could be some trouble there. Like, if things don't go well, if they suffer a big injury or something, like, knock on wood, I don't have wood in front of me, but if Nurse were to go down, what's that blue line looking like? Because it's ugly.
Slater Cook, buddy.
Cuckoo.
I like to pronounce. My K's.
Yeah.
I do not believe in the silent K.
Dear Remchuk, knowing that I spent a healthy 15 minutes of time on my predictions.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to wonder, when we do our predictions, is the format going to be you ask the question, we give you our answer, we then move on, right?
Sure.
We're not going to give all of our predictions and then the next guy goes, right? Like,
no.
we should do it. Yeah, in like a linear order like that.
So for the listeners, we have 12 predictions lined up. That's what I'm going to get from everyone. We're going to go through them one by one. Everyone will give their takes. We only have about half an hour to get this done because we have Brody from OwnersBox joining us to talk a little fantasy hockey in a second. Before we even get to any of that, though, I need to give some love to our friends at Twig and Berries, who want to make sure you can also get some love because they have a new gift package available now on their website. It's called the Gettin' Lucky Threesome. Huh? You get 3 items for $50. It is a nice red pair of their nutsack underwear, a red long sleeve, and a red pair of socks that have like some lips and stuff like that on them. It's all Valentine's Day themed. So if you need to do some shopping for the, lucky man in your life, head to our friends at Twig and Berries. They got the Gettin' Lucky Threesome gift box. Or maybe you're listening to this and you're going, you know what? Valentine's Day coming up. I want to look good for my girl. Then you go and get the Gettin' Lucky Threesome. Use the promo code NATION15. It'll get you 15% off. How about that?
I'm in.
Sold ya. All right. If you guys are ready, we'll dig into our predictions here. As Chalmers,
now, how does this work? There's 15 questions. There's 5 of us. So we're about to say 75 answers.
There's 12 questions. There's 12 questions.
12 questions.
And he's basically going to say, question 1, do we think this is going to happen, or our number? And he'll go through and say,
let's fucking do it.
We'll give our answers, and it'll be easy. It'll be fucking awesome.
It's going to be a gauntlet of Oilers talk coming up here for the next 25 minutes on the podcast, which is great because the season starts in like 48 hours. So let's dig right into it. The first page I got pulled up here, and these will all be up on our social medias later so everyone can hold us accountable. It's all point projections. So let's start with who else but Conor McDavid. A lot of the sports books have his over-under around like 79.5, 81.5. I'll go to the top of my screen to Jay. How many points for Conor McDavid this season?
Oh wow, we're not following the order in which you sent the question.
Really?
So that's okay. Let me just reshuffle. I'll move down to the other category.
You can't look down to number 5.
I wrote the question and then wrote my answer with some prompts for some commentary.
Well, this is what happens when you prepare.
Because I prepare.
Never.
I'm a professional podcaster and I prepare. But now our producer just threw me for a loop. And now I gotta go to another.
I'll go.
So what? No.
Stop talking over each other. I paused you guys. There you go.
I want to air my grievances, and I did. What's the question?
How many points will McDavid have?
He's going to have 89 points.
Wow. It's a high mark. Wanya, you're next on my list.
Conor McDavid, ever heard of him?
Is it Price is Right scoring?
Sure. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
90.
You think he's going to crack the 90-point mark?
Yeah, man, he's the tit.
Fair enough. Chalmers, what do you got for McDavid?
Last year, he was at a 1.5 points per game. The year before that, 1.48. The year before that, 1.35. This year, I could put him exactly at 1.5, giving him 84 points this season.
84
Clear
points?
You don't believe.
Yeah.
Who did their research now, big man?
Skeptic.
Shit.
Mr. Bagmilk, you're on the podcast. Hello.
90 points for Connor.
I said that.
Well.
All right, then 87 points for Connor.
Going 3 points down.
Oh, Sidney Crosby.
I'm going to be right in that range as well. I'm going to go with, I'm going to go just a hair below bagged milk. I'm going to say 86 for Conor McDavid, but we all have him at least in the 80s, which, I mean, if he's healthy, like Chalmers said, 1.5 points per game, that should be pretty attainable, especially if he's playing with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Well, let's be real. If he's healthy the whole season, 100 points isn't out of the question.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't put my money on it because the thing I was torn with you sending me these questions is, am I drinking the Kool-Aid and answering these questions? Or am I actually trying to really do the work to come up with a real answer? I was trying to think of who I need to be.
I'm predicting Connor to have an octuple hat trick in the first Battle of Alberta. If you're wondering which way I'm going to go with my bet. The 24-goal game.
Oh, wow. I thought maybe
you never see it.
8 goals, but that's rare.
No, 8 hat tricks.
Fair enough.
It's going to be wild.
This next one's a little bit trickier for me. Leon Draisaitl. I was doing some research for my fantasy hockey drafts because I have a few of them coming up here in the next few days. And Draisaitl's a hard player for me to kind of get a number on because, obviously last year, career year. But it can be hard to follow up a career year, you know? So I'll go first on Draisaitl. I think I'm probably going to be the lowest out of everyone. In a 56-game season, I'm going to go ahead and give him a nice 69 points for Leon Draisaitl. I think,
wow.
You
don't like Leon Draisaitl, eh?
I wonder what the power play is going to be like, and I don't know. I'm coming in a little bit too low, but I just think it can be hard to come back from a career year. I think it's hard to even one-up that, and I don't know. I'm probably too low on it, but I'm at 69 points for Draisaitl. Bagged Milk, what do you got for Leon?
I'm going to go 77 points.
Okay. So a little bit higher, but not quite on the McDavid level. So you got McDavid coming in at 10 more points than that. Chalmers, what do you got for Leon Draisaitl?
Last year, he was at a 1.51 points per game. The year before that, 1.28. The year before that, a really, really terrible 0.89 points per game. Mm-hmm. This year, I put him at 1.35, giving him 76 points.
76 points. Chalmers,
math guy.
Yeah, mathematician of the podcast.
Yeah.
Wanye, what are you thinking for Big 29, the big German?
Yeah, just help me with the numbers here on this. So he's number 29, right?
Yep.
And then add Connor. What's Connor?
97.
Number? Yeah, 97. Deduct your age.
23.
Yeah, and what do we got there?
103.
Number? That's what I'll go with, 103.
You think Leon Draisaitl will get 103
I
points?
believe. Unless you're lying about your age, my prognostications and calculations, that's what I'm getting.
Hey, the math checks out. Hey,
Yeah.
man.
All right. I will put 103 on
Perfect.
the list.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Come to my house if I'm wrong? No. You don't even know my address.
I do not. Jay, what are you thinking for Leon? We got 69, 76, 77, and 103 so far.
Wow, 103.
So
that's strong.
You're not wrong. If they're going to be separated, you can't assume he's going to be at par with McDavid, but he's going to be playing the power play with them. And best believe if we're behind, those two are going to be paired up. So there's going to be some points. So I'm putting Leon at 80.
80 points for Leon Draisaitl. To go with 89 for McDavid is what you had. The third member of this sort of Oilers core group of forwards is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'll switch up the order a little bit here. And you know what, Wanye? I'll come to you first.
Well,
Ryan
I'm all over.
Nugent-Hopkins.
I'm shocked that they've got Draisaitl for 103 points. I mean, that's a lot of juice. So those are going to have to come from somebody. Maybe I'll put the Nugent 75 if that's the way it's going.
75 for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Well, I mean, if you got, I don't know why they would have him so high at 103, but shit.
Chalmers, where are you going for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins?
Nugent-Hopkins last year at .93. Year before that, .84. Year before that, .73. This year, I put him at .875 for a 49-point season.
49.
For my boy Nuge.
Oh, it's so low.
That's probably going to be the low one. And I was going to save bagged milk for last because he is the resident Nugent-Hopkins expert. But I'm going to come to you right off that bagged milk. Chalmers says 49. What do you say?
Put my money where my mouth is. I feel like this will be the first year Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a point-per-game player, considering he'll be on the wing with either Connor or Leon all year. I'm going to go 57 points for Nugent.
57 points for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Jay, you think that's still too low?
I'm going to go with 52.
Really?
I'm going with 52, and it's. I love the Nuge, and like that'll be his best point per game total of his career. So I'm still thinking he's going to take another step. He's actually now have line mates, but I just think with when I think about like the juggle, if they have to move Draisaitl and McDavid later in the game or things like that, there's going to be some situations that take him off a little bit. So I'm going to go 52 points.
52 points will actually be a 9.25. Last year, he was a .93.
I would like to change my answer. Math guy has chimed in. 54 points for Nuge.
You're going to go with 54. Final answer?
Hey, the math tells me I have to.
Ryan,
that would be a 9.6 or .96.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, in the 4 play-in games against the Chicago Blackhawks, had 8 points. He was producing at a 2-point-per-game clip. I think he can keep that up to some extent. I don't think he's going to, put up 112 points this year. He's not Leon Draisaitl. But I think Nuge will be comfortably above a point per game. And I'm going to say Ryan Nugent-Hopkins gets 63 points this season.
Wow. I hope you're right.
Look, man, so do I. So do I. Honestly, so do I.
I even hope Wanye's right, for Christ's sake.
Yes, man. You got to go strong with your predictions. Claim they're going to win the cup. And then you've set your expectations high to be in tears by Halloween, usually.
What would Halloween, the equivalent this year would be what, Family Day? You're in tears by Family Day?
Usually it sounds about right.
Next up, I want to get your I want to get your guys' thoughts on Tyson Berry, who's coming in here, 1-year deal, looking to resurrect his career to some extent. Last season he had 39 points with Toronto. Year before that, he almost hit 60 with Colorado. Almost hit 60 the year before that with Colorado as well. I don't know exactly what those numbers would translate to, but he should get over 40 points this season. I have Tyson Berry at 46 points. Chalmers, you're the math guy. Where do you have Tyson Berry at this season?
Well, what you were saying was right. Now, every year he doesn't play complete season. I don't know much about Tyson Berry. I've never analyzed him. So the numbers never lie. 0.55 last year, 0.75 the year before that, 0.83 the year before that. I got him at a 0.67, giving him 38 points.
38 points. See, and I think the Oilers' power play might give him a little bit of a bump over what he usually would produce, which is why I have him up around 46. Wanye, Tyson Berry, what's he doing this year?
Oh, it's all this math. Well, I don't know Tyson Berry from a hole in the wall. So straight up 33 points. Patrick Waugh. How's that?
Will he be on the power play?
Yeah,
man. Who knows?
Power play.
He's going to run the power play.
Oh yeah,
run the power play.
I think I'm going to.
You're not wrong. No, well, you might. I don't know. Like
But he's not going to get a lot of 5-on-5 minutes, I don't think. I think that'll kind of go to Bear on the right side, and I even think Larson might play a little bit more 5-on-5 than him, especially, D-zone matchups and things like that, or D-zone starts. So, Jay, what do you think we're getting from Barry?
But he'll get O-zone starts for sure.
Yeah, I guess.
I think. Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say. So, there's one thing, devil's advocate. If they're since they're playing all Canadian teams, there's gonna be more, of a rivalry, meaning more penalties, meaning more power play time. Conor McDavid getting that third assist when you pass it down low for a one-timer. That could really, I don't know. I think I'm going to be low on Tyson Berry. That's my prediction.
Well, just now imagine McDavid has a right shot defenseman option. Like, our power play has changed for the better. So that's amazing. But you're right. Like, fuck, I've been really struggling with this because, like, I want to say such a fucking big number, but I'm hovering between 40 and 42. So I'll go. Has anyone said 42 yet?
No.
Yeah, I think if he gave us 42 points, we're going to be doing cartwheels down the street. Like that's fucking phenomenal. So yes.
Bagged milk. No one's even coming close to a point a game for Tyson Berry. Or will you?
30 points.
30.
Whoa!
Not even close.
Fade. The Russian judge.
I just think he's going to do stuff on the power play, but Toronto also had a pretty good power play last year.
That's fair.
True.
Yeah, but fuck. You're right.
Did he have an injury leading to his drop off in production? What was the situation?
He just never fit in Toronto, and I
think good for him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, it was a confidence thing. He had a rough confidence year last year, and I think Babcock, he is a bad cop. Bad cop ruffled him a little bit, and that was just kind of the body of work he was able to do as a kind of result of all that. Wasn't able to kind of regain his momentum. So I think Conor McDavid is going to make sure Tyson Berry gets a lot of points this year.
Maybe this will be another quasi Uncle Yessie coming home because Kenny Holland massaged the situation. Tippett's a pro. Maybe they bring him in, rebuild shattered Babcock confidence.
Well, Barry's betting on himself too because he could have got way more money outside of Edmonton, and he took Edmonton's offer knowing that he can get a chance to really enhance his value. So it's contract year. He's playing with McDavid. He's here to reemerge as a point-producing defense. I'm not saying he's great defensively at all, but he's going to get some points.
Gregor seems to like to bring up the fact that he thinks we're going to be surprised by how well Tyson Berry plays in his own end. He's one of the I got an article I'm working on for the site for tomorrow, the 10 biggest questions I have coming into this season, or the 10 storylines I'm kind of watching, and Barry's one of them because, that's a guy who a couple of years ago, if you wanted to go get him, you were probably giving up a first-round pick. Remember there would be rumors that, Barry's on the market. Is Nugent Hopkins for Barry a trade the Oilers should look at? To see his value fall this far, he should still have some good hockey left in him.
Oh, yeah. He's getting 2 points on Wednesday.
That's careful. That takes hot. All right. The next page I have is sort of centered more around the Oilers just as a team. And we'll start with just how many points do you think the Oilers will get in a 56-game season? I can go first because I got the math worked out. In a 56-game season, I think the Oilers will go 30, 23, and 3, which will give them a total of 63 points on the year.
Nice.
Anyone else want to jump up next year? Chalmers?
I'll go. I have them at 30, 18, and 8, giving them a 68 points.
My problem with that prediction would be I don't think they lose in overtime that much. I think they're too good to lose in overtime. All right? You can throw McDavid Draisaitl over the boards. That's why I have mine at only 3 overtime losses. I have a tough time seeing them losing 8 times in overtime.
Right. So I said that basically I thought that they would go to overtime probably 16 times and go 50-50 in it.
That's fair.
So that was kind of the logic
16 times in overtime. Wow. That's 20% of the time.
In a 56-game season where you're playing the same teams, though, and all like 4 of the teams that you play, 10, 10, 9, and 9 times each, they're going to be tight games, man.
That's like 1/3 of the games almost. Jeez. Okay. Yeah.
If that happens, Chalmers, Oilers fans will be dying of heart attacks, man. You can't give me a 56-game season with 16 overtimes in a tight playoff race. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Wanye, what do you got? How many points for the Oilers this year in a 56-game season? Don't say
Well, I
112.
Top 10 questions of the team going into next year will be, is this the year James Neal finds out about his illegitimate child? Will this be the year?
You want me to add that in?
I think they'll have 69 points. Nice.
69. It's a nice season right there. Bag Milk, what are you thinking?
That isn't actually, I think we have to say that wasn't actually a fact that Wanye disputed. That is just
you're supposed to ask a follow-up question, not just absorb that factoid.
I don't even know what
I just moved on. That's what I was like,
yeah, I know.
I gotta pop.
This is a falsehood I'm clearly stating.
Okay,
Yeah.
what's the follow-up question you were hoping for?
Yeah.
I just think with
What's her name?
those teeth in that cup run, something must have happened. Year one in Vegas, everyone's like, "Who's that guy? What's up with that grill?"
We are all responsible.
He didn't get that grill until he
podcasters.
was in Calgary.
He didn't?
No.
What did he look like before?
Normal guy.
Oh,
Normal guy
really?
with teeth.
Fuck. Well, that's a grill and a half.
He does have
maybe-
beautiful teeth.
Maybe he didn't have a kid then.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
anyway,
Sometimes I
69
just roll
points here,
past
Jack.
some stuff like that.
Well,
Bag
I
Milk?
wouldn't. We're probably going to get sued.
Bag Milk?
Oh, is it me? I'm going to go 30, 21, and 5 for 65 points.
Man, we all have 30 wins so far.
Secret
Yeah.
James Neal child? Yes or no?
What?
Bag Milk, do you think James Neal is a secret kid?
No, I don't think it's a secret. I think he just wears it as a papoose and flaunts it to his illegitimate lovers.
He's not protecting his kid from the world. He's protecting the world. No, wait. Wrong way.
Yeah.
Remember Drake?
What did Drake say? I wasn't.
He's not protecting the...
I wasn't
Yeah.
hiding my kid from the world. I was hiding the world from my kid. That was the line.
That's right.
He also said, started from the bottom, now we're here.
Fair enough. Jay,
I would
is
also
he-
like to further reiterate this James Neal stuff is all not true. And off the back of that, and I
That's your
believe
prediction. That's your prediction.
Jay adopted
68
James
points.
Neal's baby.
No. The
68
James
68
Neal
points.
thing.
I wanted to say
68?
70. I wanted to say 70.
That's a lot.
Well, yeah, but I also think I have high hopes for the Oilers as always. But yeah, 68 points.
So with those point ranges, do any of us have them winning the North Division? Because I have them.
Well-
I have them coming in third with
First,
with
so do
my
I.
point mark.
That's why
Third.
I wanted to say 73 points initially, because I want them to win.
I just picked 69 because it's funny. They're coming in first.
That's what she said.
I just don't think 69 wins it though. That's the thing.
No, but
If it's
my
tight
answers are
enough.
nonsensical.
And it's
But
not
it's
even
gonna
that
be
fun
tight.
anyway.
It's going to be tight. Like top three teams, I don't think you're going to have like a clear runaway winner. It's going to be a tight race, so it could be a lower point total. And that's kind of why I brought mine down.
So where are you thinking they finish, Jay?
Well, I'm going with my heart on this, and first.
Yeah.
2
10
votes.
games against the Leafs, your M-check. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah, it'll be good. So we got
It'll be
2
great.
votes for third place, 2 votes for first place. Bagged Milk can either break the tie or just go second place and be right in the middle.
Come on, Bag Milk.
I honestly do think they're going to come in second place, though. Before Tyler even said anything.
Who do you think's first?
Toronto.
Oh,
How dare you?
How dare you?
sir?
They're a good team. Like, no matter what people
I would
say,
say
Toronto's a good team.
Ottawa's got a better chance in the standings than Toronto.
Jeez.
I will take that money all day.
Yeah, me
You
too.
are
Give me
not
on.
my plus one.
Pay for the
At-
juice.
You always want juice, though.
Yeah.
Well, when I make bold things like that, it comes with juice.
All right, we're going to have to move a little bit quicker because we got Brody from OwnersBox coming up here. So these next 2 questions are going to go rapid fire. They play the Calgary Flames 10 times next season. How many wins will they get against the Flames? I'm getting bold. I'm saying 7. Wanye?
10.
Figured that was coming. Chalmers?
5.
5 and 5, 500.
Oh,
Jay?
shame on you.
Jay?
I'm going 7-2, bro.
All right, I dig that. Bag Milk?
6.
6. All right, next question we got up. What will the longest Oilers winning streak of the year be? I say at some point they rattle off 5 in a row. I know that's maybe a little bit of a conservative answer. I don't know, but I'm going with 5. Bag Milk, what do you got?
4.
4. Jay?
So it is hard to go on a streak this year because you're playing like a team 3 times.
Yeah.
And you've got to, like, it's tough to sweep a series like that. So I'm trying to think the bookends of two series. Like they win 2 in Ottawa, and then they come back home and win the first 2 against Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm trying to think of that situation.
There's a couple times when they play a team just once, and then another team just once, and then book at it. So there's literally 4 games at one point against 4 different teams.
So that could open up a window. So I of a bigger one, but my gut is telling me 4.
Okay. Wanye, what are you thinking for win streaks?
Has anyone used a letter?
No.
That might be a good one, eh?
It's like it's like Wheel of Fortune. You have to buy a letter. So
I see. Well, I'll go with 4. 4 wins in a row.
4 seems conservative, like the popular answer here. Chalmers,
I don't want to be ridiculous.
I have 4.
Okay,
I have 4 because you know what? When you look at the schedule, you realize that there's there's not very often where they don't have a back-to-back game, and so you're going to be playing, 2 different goaltenders at that time. I don't know. 4 is the best I could see.
Yeah, I just think it's tough to put a big one together.
Yeah,
and plus the boys
especially
can't on the road. They can't party. Like when you get into when you get in the rhythm of a win streak, the boys are partying, they're galvanized, they're all that stuff, and I think that's going to be taken away from them, so they can't do that. So even like the mojo momentum that you can build off the ice, it will prevent them from going on a long stretch.
All right, last page of questions here. We're going to start with this one. Look around the Canadian division. They're playing most of the teams 9 times, a couple of them 10. But which team will Edmonton rack up the most wins against? I know Ottawa is going to be the popular answer, but I'm actually going to go with Montreal here. I think they've had Carey Price's number for a while, and I'm not that high on the Montreal Canadiens. So I think they rack up the most wins against the Habs. Bag Milk, who do you think they'll beat up on the most?
I'm with you. I'm with Montreal. I think Montreal's fake news, to be honest.
Me too.
Well, upon further review, the actual question was who beats the Oilers the most. So that is the answer I put on there.
Oh, shoot.
We'll do both. We'll do both.
Yeah, we'll do both.
We can do both. We can do both. Okay, who I think the Oilers beat the most? I'm going to pick a name out of a hat. It's going to be Montreal.
Wow, that's the way to go random.
Yeah, I believe that. So I'm just going to do my who beats the Oilers the most too. I think Toronto beats them the most.
Mine is.
That's fair.
I think the team we beat the most this year is Winnipeg. And I actually think the team that gives us the most trouble is Montreal.
You think Montreal is going to give us the most trouble?
Yep.
Interesting.
Because we're gonna show up for Toronto. Connor wants to beat Toronto. Montreal is just gonna get. They're just gonna get like the fallout of just us being exhausted from playing Toronto or something like that, or not being in the mind space because we're getting ready for Toronto. So I think Montreal is better than what you 3 think, and probably will give us a little bit of trouble.
Quickly then, I'm going to say that Winnipeg's going to beat Edmonton the most. I think that's who Edmonton's going to have the most trouble with. Wanye, who does Edmonton... What? I'm high on the Jets this year. Who does Edmonton beat the most, and who beats Edmonton the most?
Calgary is who we're going to beat the most.
Fair.
When you think about it, 10 Flames games and 10 Leafs games, and no AGLC staff metering your alcohol intake? Oh, you Remchuk. Who will they lose to the most? All these teams are nerds. Not Winnipeg. You are high, you're Remchuk. There's no question. I don't know, Toronto, I suppose. But I think Toronto games are going to be so great that Connor's going to shell them personally.
Yes.
Bag Milk.
He gets joy from that.
Who beats Edmonton the most this year?
And this won't be popular, but I think a team that'll give them the most trouble is Calgary, and not necessarily because of the team, but rather because of disciplinary problems that the Oilers may run into.
Yeah,
I think so. All right.
It's the teams we play after Calgary once we get suspended.
Yeah.
That are going to be getting the.
I just think that
matchup.
Calgary's so easy for them to get fired up and pissed off, and then they start running around and get out of their game, and I could see that being an issue.
We're going to end this with a couple questions about the Oilers' goaltending. We're going to start with Mikko Koskinen. Over under a .917 save percentage for Mikko Koskinen. I'm going to say over.
Under.
How did you arrive at this number, 917?
It's kind of been his general number for a few years now.
So basically,
Last year-
is he having a great year or an okay year would take him below that?
Well,
Yeah.
last year he had a great year, and it was .917. The year before that, in 2019, it was 906. The year before that, .873.
So what's your answer,
We
Chalmers?
threw him to the well. We threw him to the wolves in the first year.
My answer is under. He'll be around 900, 904, 906, something like that.
Fuck.
I think it's going to be over because I think if our defense are what we think they are, they're going to reduce the high danger chances and force things to the perimeter. So I think he's going to have easier saves to make, and that is going to bump up his percentage.
Wanye, over or under?
I had a dream about Yanni Nienema recently, which I think is a sign. Under. He's going to have a shit year.
That's an
Fellow
interesting
Finn
sign to have.
Came to me in a prophetic dream.
That can happen.
And that was going to make Smith have a lot of starts.
So, hey, way to tie in the next one. Over under 21.5 starts for Mike Smith. Over. Okay. Jay?
I'm gonna go.
No, go Chalmers. You're excited.
I'm gonna go. He's gonna go under. They play 10 back-to-back games. I imagine he'll start one of those every time. Throw in another 6 starts there when it gets when they just need to give him some rest. Put him at around 16 to 18, so under.
Wow, I'm going to agree with Chalmers too. Your math convinced me. Under for me. Jay?
Were you over before Chalmers' math?
I was on the fence.
Yeah, I think. Is he gonna? Because he played the majority of the games last year, right? Like it was like a 55-45 kind of split.
It was closer to 50 than that, but even
like Abe
Smith
Lincoln
did trade
right
a
now.
bulk.
Yeah, I'll probably go under. He'll
Under.
probably be right at 20 or 21.
Bag milk?
What was your number again?
21.5.
I'm going over.
Over. Okay.
Dave Tippett fucking loves Mike
He
Smith.
loves them.
Yeah.
And I just think, I'm guessing it's going to be a 50-50 split at least.
All
I
right.
agree with you, Bag Milk, that you think he's starting tomorrow.
Last
or Wednesday.
year he loved him. Last year he loved him, and Koskinen took the decision out of his hands. When every time Koskinen would come in and he was stealing games, and every time Smith came in, the guys in front of him looked like they had zero confidence. He started flailing around like a madman, and they had to go back to Koskinen.
Yeah. I don't know. The goaltending is going to be interesting this year, but I may be a little bit more confident in Koskinen than some. 9-17
I think the
last
team
year.
in front of Koskinen is going to make Koskinen look better this year.
I think that's a reasonable take. Thanks for playing along with this, guys. I had
Whoa!
I know.
You missed the question.
One more.
You missed the question.
I had one more, but now it's not going to fit on the graphic, but we can throw it out there now anyways.
Ugh.
Will Conor McDavid win the MVP trophy this year? Is it a resounding yes?
Yes.
I bet on it.
Me
If
too.
I drop my point total for Leon to 2 digits, will it fit on the graphic?
No.
If you don't believe in the Oilers or the Oilers making the playoffs, then you would say no. But of course, who thinks that? Of course, the Oilers are going to make the playoffs. Of course, Conor McDavid is going to win the Hart.
Of course,
All right.
Yes.
I like ending our predictions episode or portion of this episode on that note. So thanks for playing along, guys. If you're listening and you want to see all these predictions again and laugh at us at the end of the season, well, they'll be up on our Instagram and on our Twitter, so you can check those out and give us a follow while you're at it. So thanks for doing that, guys.
Before I go, your M-Check, I'd like you to put a photo up on Insta of James Neal pre-grill, if you wouldn't mind, at some point this week.
For sure, we can do that.
Just want to get a gander what he was dealing with for his jibs.
Absolutely.
Good luck, everybody.
Pre-grill Neal.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind.
All
Tag
right,
me.
we got a guest.
Real Neil.
We got a guest coming up here, so we are gonna quickly pause this and then get to Brody from OwnersBox. We are joined by Brody Schnarr from OwnersBox and an exciting website. Brody, we talked on Oilers Nation Radio a little bit, but again, just kind of take us through what OwnersBox is and sort of what sets it apart from both daily fantasy sports and sort of the traditional fantasy sports setting.
Hey, Tyler, thanks again for having me on. I appreciate it. So OwnersBox is a weekly fantasy sports platform, kind of trying to take what we like most from the year long and the daily and make a brand new format for players to play on. So on our app, as we mentioned, it's weekly. Contests take place over 7 days. And what you'll be doing is competing in snake drafts. So kind of taking the draft format and the managing format of the week-long aspect and compacting it into a more digestible time frame like the daily, but doing that over a week. So what you'd be doing is competing in contests of either 2 players, 4 players, 8 players or 16 players. It would be kind of like a head-to-head matchup similar to what you'd see in March Madness. So everyone knows March Madness, that kind of format. And you'd be matched up. If you win your week, you're moving on to play someone else. If you're playing in that, 4 or 8 or 16 man type. And if it's a 2-man, you win, you get paid money right away. Yep, exactly. And you can enter another contest from there, cash out, whatever you choose to do with the money at that point in time.
See, what I like about this is my favorite parts, and I don't think I'm alone on this, my favorite parts of a fantasy league are the draft and the playoffs. So you guys basically just took out the boring middle portion and are giving me the most exciting parts of playing fantasy sports.
Yeah, that's the way we like to think of it too. We're trying to give people a new experience. It's an exciting space. People love this. Fantasy has been growing over the years. I'm a big fantasy player, and that was kind of the idea behind the whole thing. So give people the best aspects of both, which in our mind is the draft and kind of that management piece, but do it quicker.
The other thing that I noticed about your format is I've played a lot of fantasy in my life. And back in when you play daily fantasy, you draft a team, but you have to, like in baseball, you have to dress a lineup every day. A lot of guys can find that to be way too overwhelming, and you just can't keep up with that. So what I like about weekly fantasy is you start your week, you set your lineup on a Sunday night, and that's your lineup for the week. Is that correct?
So yeah, you can take that approach. That can be your lineup for the week. The one thing we wanted to be aware of with weekly is injuries can happen and things can change. So let's say we'll use Kucherov. That's the example I think I used on the last pod for you, Tyler. Yeah. Kucherov got injured. Some people who did early drafts kind of get screwed if you took Kucherov in the NHL for the year long. Same thing can happen in the week, unfortunately. Same thing can happen with any sport where a guy gets injured. So you have your team and you can choose the games that they play at the beginning of the week. And then assuming nothing changes, you can keep that team. Absolutely. You think that's the best, you can go for it. But if anything may change, if there's an injury, it still kind of gives you that backup in that instance where if your guy gets injured in his first game of the week and you had him playing 4 games, you can swap him out for the next available player. So still give you a shot to where you're not out of it because of one injury that's out of your hands.
Yeah, the one thing I like about this, because as someone who frequently loses, my fantasy football, except for this year, I won both, but that's a red herring.
Me too.
That's an anomaly. But people need to know I did win both leagues I played in. But aside from that, it's been a decade of darkness of losing everything. What I like and what you guys are bringing here is that I can start again soon. I don't have to wait a whole calendar year or whatever for the next season to start. It's depending on which draft I go into, I could be back in the game in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And I'll quickly mention I won both my leagues too. Just want to throw that out there. 2-0 in fantasy football as well. So welcome to
game respects game.
Yeah, both in the same club there. But yeah, exactly. You can hop in right after, and if it doesn't work, you don't have to play every single week. You can kind of step out and get back into it when you're ready. And the other big thing we want to stress about our platform is we've added a lot of elements to allow you to play with friends. So you can schedule a private contest, get in with your buddies, get that set up where you have your own little group chat, and you can set up a contest between each other. So that kind of adds that element too of you can play against anyone in the world, but you can choose to play with your friends if that's the way you want to approach it, and kind of get some bragging rights, just like you do in your season-long leagues that are more with buddies in general.
Excellent.
I would also like to brag that I won my first OwnersBox contest this weekend. I did a quick NFL one, and I came out on top. My boy Josh Allen coming through for me.
There you go.
So you guys offer all the sports as well, but sticking with hockey here, I want to pick your brain on a few things. I did one draft yesterday. I got another one we're going to be doing tomorrow for Oilers Nation Radio. And if you're listening to this, we're going to be live streaming at 1:00. We're going to live stream our whole draft. It'll be a ton of fun. If I happen to get the third pick, McDavid, McKinnon, they're interchangeable 1 and 2. Who do you have as that third most valuable fantasy player? Because some people will say Matthews, some people like Draisaitl, some people will even say Ovechkin. I want to lean Matthews. Am I right in wanting to lean Matthews there? Would you go a different way, Brody?
I mean, you can't go wrong with Austin. I'm a Leaf fan, but in all honesty, and I've been getting kind of torched with my friends with this. I took Draisaitl number 2 in
Hey, so know your audience. Woo.
Yeah, yeah, and there you go to the Oilers fans listening. But I have him. I think until he proves that he, you know what I mean. Until he regresses, I don't want to go away from him. I know you can't make, I put him in that top 3 conversation is where I'm going. So if I'm sitting third, I'm happy if Draisaitl falls to me. If someone wants to take him second, I'll take McKinnon. And, you won't get McDavid there, but if you happen to, obviously you scoop him up.
I've been really interested in doing sort of some mock drafts. And like I said, one OwnersBox, I've done my yearly fantasy league as well. There really is a lot of talented forwards in this crop. Like if you're picking in the first 2 rounds, you're probably going to get 2 studs when you go through the Jack Eichels, the Taylor Halls. There are a lot of players that I could realistically see finishing with a point a game this year.
Yeah, exactly. And to the point on OwnersBox, if there's so many top forwards to take, if you're taking forwards, defenseman, and goalie, maybe you lean to take, Hedman or, one of those offensive studs because there's not quite as many defensemen, whether it's Hedman, Carlson, Yossi, where you get someone who maybe his expected points aren't quite as high as that, second tier of forward, but is the drop from, Eichel or Panarin to Eichel in maybe you're drafted 5th instead of 8th. Is that big of a drop compared to the drop if you wait on defensemen and then you go from kind of that first tier of Yossi, Carlson, maybe Hedman in there to that second tier of defensemen. So that's another strategy point too. You've got to pick each position, and part of that comes with when you take your defenseman.
So Brody, I got a question.
Go ahead, Charles.
Oh, that's okay. Brody, I'm going to ask you because you kind of are the expert on this. If I have 10, 9 friends, there's 10 of us, and we're just starting a league, and not many of us have played fantasy hockey a lot, and we want something that's going to be a lot of fun, but also not as much work as your traditional fantasy. What format on your site would you suggest if we were going to sign up, let's say tonight or tomorrow night to do this? Would you suggest that we do?
Yeah, so I would say if you want to look at that, I think that's a great option. Definitely, there's less of that year-long commitment in it. What you would do is you'd sign up, and then you could schedule a private contest with each other, and you could also add each other as friends as soon as you get on. So you make your username, you pass it along. You can get a group chat going, organize everything that way, find a time that kind of works. And then going back to the contest sizing, right now, growing company, we've got 2-man, 4-man, 8-man, and 16-man. So you can do a contest with up to 15 friends. Maybe in your example, if you've got 10 buddies, you get them all in a group. If a few can't make it one week, that's okay, and you can go down to an 8-man contest. But
right.
That's what I would say. Yeah, and then you can kind of as you're new to it, it can definitely be daunting and a lot at first. There's so many players, and you don't really know. That happens in my leagues I do with buddies, but stepping in and getting that experience is definitely a way to learn. And one great thing we're doing, as soon as you sign up and you verify who you are, you get $5 free. And we have an OwnersBox platform, which is kind of a currency on our site that can become real money over time. So you get enough on our site that you can play a few contests for free and really learn what you're doing before you decide to put in your own money.
Nice.
Yeah, that was great as well. When I signed up, you guys gave me my amount in OwnersBox as well. I got that $5 bonus, and now I'm also, I won my first contest. I'm swimming in it. But I also see at the top of your guys' site here, a chance to win a PS5. Take us through how people can do that.
Yeah, so we got a few promotions wanted everyone to be aware of. So there's a PS5 giveaway going on right now. And the way that works is any NHL contest you enter, let's say you enter a $5 contest, you would get 5 entries into our larger pool, where it'll be a randomly chosen winner on January 21st. And so you can get entries in contests you play. You could play a $5, get 5, $10, 10 entries, so on and so forth. You can also get entries from signing up or referring friends. So if you send a referral link, if you sign up, you'll get a referral link as an individual. If friends sign up through that, or anyone you get 10 entries per sign up. So that's another way to kind of bank some entries and have a good shot at winning a PS5 at the end of it all.
Perfect. Good stuff, Brody. We're excited to continue to have you on throughout the season here for some fantasy advice. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, boys. Have a good day.
Thanks, Brody.
That's Brody Schnarr from OwnersBox. Yeah, my Buffalo Bills, baby. Woo! That had me fired up. That felt good.
What a weekend. What
about my Cleveland Browns?
Shocking the world.
Oh, Daddy made some money. Plus 236. How?
You're so fired up that your mic is modulating.
I had the single worst betting weekend of my life this weekend. It was awful. I have never seen so many little red circles that say lost in them in my bet history in my life. It is awful.
That's rough. But you'll get it back. NHL season, big weekend of football.
Yeah.
You need to get some more advice from Scott Hastings, and we'll do that on Thursday's episode of the podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Predictions, waivers, Klefbom, new broadcast duo, some fantasy hockey talk. Hockey is finally back. It feels good. This has been episode 246. Yeah, episode 246 brought to you by our friends at Oodle Noodle and Twig and Berries. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk again on Thursday.
Great job on making it through the entire hour of the Real Life Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast from.